I'm really excited to do this, so it's a very, very emotional story for me. So if anybody can't do this, I would appreciate if you would just leave, because it's very important for me, okay? So, and it's interesting. So. All right, we're starting our story in a city that is called Lviv, which was back then in Poland under their territory. Now it's actually Ukraine. Do you want to explain a little bit about the borders?
After the First World War in 1918, okay, the Poland was over here and was part of the Ukraine over here. So the border was between Ukraine and Poland right here. So right now you can see the border is right here, right?
Yeah.
And before the border was over here, okay? And I'm reading a book right now about early Jewish immigrant from Ukraine to America, and they had to cross the border right here. And then Lvov was actually across the border, okay? And in 1939, when Second World War started, there was agreement between Hitler and Stalin that Poland would be divided in two parts. That's what Mr. Heisen told us, right? So this part would go to Germany, and this part would go to Soviet Union, which you guys called Russia. Okay, so this part became Ukraine. Okay? All right.
Thank you very much. So before it was Ukraine, it was Poland. That's where my great-grandparents were born. Now I'm going to show you how it all is, because it's a little bit of
It's a family tree.
It's a family tree, right? So this is me. My mom is Felisa, which I will talk to her and talk to you about her. And her mom and dad was Cecia, which Rosa and Jacob was my great-grandparents. Rosa was actually Rosa Spielberg, so maybe I'm, related or something. And Jacob was Jacob Mantle. Just, I know there's a baseball player. Mickey Mantle. So maybe I'm a relative or something. And my grandpa, Abraham, parents were Israel and Sophia. So in Lviv, Rosa Spielberg married Jacob Mantle. They had 7 children, okay? The youngest was my grandma, Cecia, and she was younger by 18 years from her next sister. So you can imagine that she was the youngest, and her all 7 other brothers and sisters had their own families. So she was alone with her mom and dad back when the Nazis started to invade Poland. Right next to Lviv, back in the suburbs, my grandpa family lived in a farm, which they had a lot of animals, and they were very, very rich. They were so rich that they had actually a telephone there. I don't know if you know, but back then nobody really had lots of telephones wired in their homes even, and they had it up to their farm. So they had a lot of money and a lot of animals, and they were chaklaim, and
they were farmers.
I didn't get my phone until I was in 9th grade, like
Okay.
at home.
So they were very, very rich. Actually, both of these families were very, very rich. My grandma family had like a store that had from fur coats, very, very fashionable, up to everyday wear and underwear. So they were very, very rich. Sophia, which was my great-grandma, she was called Tzadika. Do anybody knows what Tzadika means?
Like a righteous person.
Like a
righteous.
Yeah, she was very, very nice to Jews and non-Jews, which are called goyim, right? And every week she would actually butcher a cow from her farm and would give to the people in need to eat. So actually, you can imagine back then, to every week to butcher one of your cows, which is one of your, her work and her, like, money back then, and she would give to people that didn't have anything to eat. Thanks to that, a lot of Goy families were very appreciative of her and thought that she was tzadikah, she was a saint to them. So they actually agreed to take her family, just Sophia's family, and put them in hide. My grandpa, that was actually pursuing my grandma, came to my grandma's house, which was in the city of Lviv, and said to her, the Nazis are coming. There was rumors that the Nazis are coming to bomb the city of Lviv that night. So he came to her and said, listen, the Nazis are coming right now. You need to come with me. My grandma said to him, I'm not going anywhere with you. I want to stay with my parents, because they didn't have anybody else. They had all their other kids with their family. She wanted to stay with her mom and dad. So my grandpa was a very, very stubborn man, as all Jews are. He took her Star of David. Now, does anybody know what the Star of David patch means? So you're a Jew, and what happens if you're going on the streets back then with no patch?
Then you die.
Then you die. Exactly. So what he did, he took her patch off and tore it away, threw it in the middle of the street. You have to understand, it's like a crazy, crazy thing to do back then. Threw it to the street, pushed her in the street, and started yelling at her, Jew, Jew. A normal person would think he's, lost his mind. My great-grandpa, which was very, very smart, he understood exactly what Abraham was trying to do. He was trying to save my grandma. He was trying to make her, realize that she needs to come with him. So actually Jacob took his daughter and said to her, listen, you have to go with Abraham. He's going to save you. Actually, what he's done right now, he actually saved my grandma, and he knew that there was going to be Nazis who's bombing the city of Lviv, so he knew that she's the only one who's going to survive. So what he's doing, he's actually showing her patch. He took her patch and showed her number of the patch. The number on my grandma patch was 21348. If you add this number, it equals 18. Anybody knows? Yeah, hi. Anybody knows what this word means in Hebrew? Alive, exactly. Actually, Jacob, my great-grandpa, knew that that's the only way to save his daughter. And he had 7 sons and daughters. So he told her, listen, this is your number. This is your fortune. Goal. How do you say goal?
Your fate.
Your fate. This is your fate. You need to escape with Abraham and to be safe and to survive. That day, they escaped to the woods, and that very, very night,